If you please rise and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, I'd like to invite Pastor Michael Buttrell from Triumphant Baptist Church to the podium. Oh, very good. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Will you bow with me for a word of prayer? Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for today, and we're grateful for this opportunity where we can discuss the business of our city, and we're thankful for our mayor and our councilmen and women, and we're also thankful for all the community members who have come out to voice their concerns and their needs. I pray that you give each of us wisdom. I pray that we be honest one with another, but also, Lord, we're just thankful for a great community to live in, and I know there's big decisions that have to be made, and I pray that everything would be factored accordingly, but Lord, we do need wisdom for what's best for our community and for our people. And Lord, I pray that you'd give that wisdom to our leaders tonight. And Lord, thank you once again for this opportunity. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Egner?
Here.
Mr. Abrams?
Here.
Mr. Maines?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson? Here.
Approved count.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we excuse Ryan Samuels and Ray Aker. Ray Aker had a full hip replacement yesterday morning, and he's had some leakage on it, so that's the reason he's not here. And due to business, Mr. Samuels is in New Jersey.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Approved council meeting minutes, May 7th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
With that, I'd like to request an executive session for a personnel matter.
Wilson so moves.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Okay, if you'd please excuse us, we have to discuss a personnel matter real quick, and we will return for the rest of the meeting. Excuse us. Thank you very much for your patience. We'll go ahead and resume the meeting and move into presentations, and I'll invite the American Legion to the podium.
Go that way, Mayor.
We have the future stars here. Hold on just a second, Mayor. I promised him he wouldn't be here long.
And here you are.
So, this is Eddie Wesley. He reached out to me and asked me if the American Legion could help future stars. They work all the concerts, serving food in that, and they were looking for some startup money. They would not be in the hole to start with, so I took his request to the Charities Board for the American Legion, and Eddie, I'm glad to say that they approved a $500 donation. And Mayor Grubbs, this is our monthly donation to the Harrison Mayor's Fund from the American Legion Charities, Inc. for $2,754.20. I think that takes us up to about $47,000 this year, over $47,000 that the American Legion has donated to the Harrison Mayor's Fund. And that is a project that is very close to all our hearts at the American Legion, because we don't want to see any family in Harrison do without shelter or food.
Well, you just stole all my thunder, Gene. So just because of the Mayor's Fund donations we've been able to contribute $6,000 to needy families each month, a total of $18,000 per quarter. We just added an additional $250 to evaluate different situations and provide gas cards if there are individuals that need transportation to work. And it's primarily contributions from institutions like the American Legion. American Legion was the largest contributor last year by about $49,000, and then Cronin Cares was the second largest contributor, along with the VFW and everything. So, but I thank the American Legion for the support and what they do for our communities. So with that, we'll go ahead and move into invited guests and visitors. First, I'd like to invite up O'Reilly Floral Design. They were the Harrison Chamber Commerce Member of the Month. We'd like to invite you to the podium, just talk a little bit about your business and when you got started. I highly encourage everyone to stop down and visit them. So.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm the owner of O'Reilly Floral Design. And this is Kelly. She is in the process of buying into the business, so she's now my partner in crime. But we've been in business. We just had our 5-year anniversary of having a storefront, and we are finally rebounding from COVID, and things are going well.
And your location is?
We're at 416 Harrison Avenue.
Yes, right on catty corner to St. John's.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful, complete remodel of the building.
Yes.
And a great business on the first floor. We're sitting right on Harrison Avenue. What all do you offer there?
We offer exclusively fresh flowers, and we do a lot of weddings and, anything from funeral, baby to funeral, really.
Yes.
Famous Christmas wreaths. The
Yeah,
best Christmas wreaths in town.
Yeah, we make Christmas
Mayor, I
wreaths.
will say that when I forget a birthday or another date, I just send her an email and she tells me I can come and pick it up. So it's great.
So she gets a lot of emails from you, huh?
She does.
Very good.
She's keeping everybody in Harrison married. It's a good thing.
No. Our hours are 10 to 3, Tuesday through Friday. And on Saturdays, sometimes if we don't have weddings set up, so it's iffy on Saturdays.
We usually just tell people to call ahead just to make sure we're there, just so you don't waste a trip down. But other than that, yeah, through the week we usually are there and not in a setup.
Very good. Well, congratulations on the Chamber Member of the Month. And
Thank you for everything. Thanks for having us
Thank
here.
you.
y'all have a wonderful evening.
You as well.
Okay, then we have a couple members of the community that would like to speak. Please remember that we'll try to keep it to 3 minutes. So I'd like to invite Joe Combs to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council, for the opportunity to share my thoughts tonight. Where the allegations against Councilman Maines fall on the spectrum of wrongdoing is certainly a matter of some debate. You can parse words and split hairs to make these allegations fit the letter of the charter, but it takes a bit of mental gymnastics to argue that this violates the spirit of Section 3.08 of our charter. The recent Cincinnati Enquirer article does an exceptional job laying out the saga of the flagpole. The mayor's response, the impact it has on neighboring residents, the scant information Mr. Hickey has actually shared about his protest, and Councilman Maine's alleged actions. Taken in the complete context of this ordeal, the proposed removal of a sitting council member seems knee-jerk at best and vindictive at worst. To be honest, this issue had mostly faded into the background for the time being, as one would have expected. If the intent was to avoid creating a circus and giving the city a black eye, I fear that by taking action now, we're experiencing a circus of this council's own creation. No measurable harm has befallen the city as a result of these allegations. Let this play out in court, a matter that should be concluded in fairly short order. Then invoke Section 308 if you must. If we, the people, really want Councilman Maines removed, there is a citizen-led recall option available to us. Or we can let the people of Harrison decide at the next municipal election where 4 of these seats are up for election, including that of Councilman Maines. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. Next, I'd like to invite Jack Phillips, please.
Good evening, council people. I'm representing myself, but I've also been asked to read a letter from Gail Chuck, so I hope you indulge me and give me the grace of 6 minutes instead of 3. My name is Jack Phillips. I live at 10774 Carolina Pines Drive. Gail Chuck is not here because of the graduation going on. She's got a grandchild, from what I understand, so I'm going to read her letter first. I'm Gail Chuck, and I think Gail Chuck lives in Land Hill South, if I'm not mistaken. She's currently the chairman of the tree board, and she's speaking tonight in behalf of Councilman Mike Maines. Mike has been the liaison to the tree board since February of 2018. Look around, you see some magnificent work done by the tree board. The Japanese white lilacs, the autumn blaze maples, and the crab apples. Mike has been instrumental in all our planning decisions. He's helped plant at the motocross park and was instrumental in getting the native shrubs and trees at Willow Park and helping with the erosion problem. He rarely misses a meeting and is always available to the board to answer questions regarding city issues. If he does not know the answer, he'll find out. Mike has always gone well beyond his duties as liaison. I think others will speak tonight in Mike's behalf. Yeah, I will. In regard to how they have been affected and helped by Mike's willingness to get things done here in Harrison. He always is supportive of Southwest Local School District, helped get the door established for business in downtown, worked to get West Road walkway installed for safety, just to name a few. Mike had a lapse in judgment and frustration. He did not and does not want Harrison labeled as a racist community. Do not vote to remove him from council because of his lapse of judgment. He is a hard-working, loyal member of City Council and deserves to be retained. Gail Chuck. My statement is that I have lived here in Harrison since April of 1979. My wife Tina and I have run a small landscape garden store business. The garden store was where Kimba Credit Union is, if you know where Kimba Credit Union is, for 27 years. In the last 18 years, we've just run a small landscape company. I still get to work every day. I love that. As Alan Kennett used to say, if those of you that remember Alan, I'm still kicking, just not quite as high. So that's, Tina and I have 5 children who all went through Southwest Local Schools, and 2 of our kids serve our community. Katie, our second child, is the assistant principal at Harrison Elementary, and Mark works with our mayor for Christ Loving Hands. He's the leader of Christ Loving Hands, and we appreciate so much what council does for our community. My wife and I support Mike Maines. If you need a true friend you can count on, Mike's the guy. When I heard about the shenanigans that went on, Mike would have been the last guy I would have thought of, and I know quite a few of the council people here. Mike would have been the last guy I would have thought would have been involved with shenanigans like that. I have been asked many times and from various people to run for mayor or run for city council. I honestly don't understand that part, but I've continued to decline because I know the divisiveness of this job. And I value all the relationships I've built within this community. And I'm guessing that you all have felt the sting in the last 6 months of of a lot of the controversy that is going on. So I am grateful to have people that are willing to serve on city council. It's not an easy job, and I appreciate all of you. I am strongly urging you to stand strong together with Mike instead of against him. Folks, the enemy is winning here in Harrison and around this great nation. His main job is to divide, and we are letting him win by not recognizing his tactics. Mike Maines is not your enemy or the enemy of this city. I know no one who cares more about his community than Mike Maines. And he's open to listening to the constituents. Although he made a mistake, he represents us well. He has a date in court, and let the court system and our citizens decide his fate as the city leader. I have many quotes that I love, but this one seems to fit the situation. Civility costs nothing but buys everything. I think it is more important today than ever that we rebuild an atmosphere of forgiveness and civility in every aspect of our lives. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Kip Monroe?
Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you
Evening,
again.
sir.
Nice to see you at the food truck rally. My name is Kip Monroe. I live at 10446 Walking Fern Drive, and I'd like, you'll be happy to know, Ryan, I've timed my remarks out. I'm well under 3 minutes.
Very good, sir.
I'd like to say a few words in support of Mike Maines. As part of the Front Door Project, I've been attending city council meetings for a couple years now. And when I haven't been here in person, I've seen them online. So I think I have a pretty good sense of who everyone is and what takes place here and some of the political dynamics. Over that time, I've been impressed with how Mike Maines conducts himself. His reasoning is sound, he's thoughtful, and I've come to hold him in very high regard. And many people I talk to feel the same. Mike's a smart guy, he's smart as a whip, he's a good family man, he's a hard worker who actually gets things done for the city. If you were to write a job description for exactly the kind of person any community would be lucky enough to have on their city council, you'd describe Mike Maines. But as it happens to all of us, it certainly happened to me a number of times in my life. Mike had a bad day. His frustration with seeing his name appear on a toilet under a Confederate flag got the best of him. He did a really dumb thing. No one is denying that, certainly not Mike. So the immediate question before each of you tonight, or I guess next week more correctly, is what does the city of Harrison do with Mike? What does city council do with Mike? You just vote him out? Do you recite some language in the charter and you claim you have no choice? Well, actually, that's not true. The fact of the matter is, while the charter certainly allows you to remove Mike, it doesn't require it. You can actually do some soul searching, realize you got a great guy here, and vote to keep him. That's an option you have. Before making your decision, we encourage you to consider the even bigger questions. Will Harrison be better off without Mike Maines? Will removing Mike Maines restore Harrison's tarnished reputation? Will the public dismissal of a council member, thereby requiring yet a third appointee, bolster confidence in city council? For myself and lots of other folks, we believe the answer to all these questions is a resounding no. So we respectfully ask that you put your political differences aside, you embrace the spirit of forgiveness, you show a little mercy, and you vote to let Mike maintain his council seat. To borrow a phrase from a recent Cincinnati Enquirer front page headline, voting Mike Maines out of office is not who we are. Thank Thank you very much.
Ms. Linda Peak, please.
My name is Linda Peak. I live at 534 Miami Trace, and that is Harrison, Ohio. Thank you all for all you do, first of all, and for allowing me to speak. Mike Maines has been elected by the residents of Harrison multiple times. He wasn't appointed, he was elected. He's respected in the community. He listens to the residents. He represents them with his vote. Have you ever made a bad decision that you regret? One that affected your family, your friends, your job, or your community? We all have. Forgiveness is real. Don't judge him by the media, including Harrison Happenings. It does not represent the opinion of the entire community. Let the courts be the judge. Mike has proven that he's a good council member, and I request that you keep him on this council. Thank you.
And then there was one other individual, he just was not able to attend this evening, Mr. Billy Richardson. Just going to read a statement from him. Please raise your hand if you have had a speeding ticket. Were you arrested for speeding? Did the police go to the extreme where they were breaking the law? No. In most cases, they give you a warning or a ticket. Why have you chosen to go to the extreme to remove Mike Maines, or a person who has voted in by the people? We, the people, should be able to vote them out if we feel he has broken our trust. Will you give us the right, or will you as a group vote him out? As it was stated in the last meeting by one council member, we are doing what is in the charter. We, the people, should go to the extreme and remove the people we do not like from council, or should we wait until voting time and not vote for you? Like said last meeting, we should give Mike Maines another chance and allow him to be suspended without pay and do some community service. Don't kick out the person who is for the people and votes for the people. And that was Mr. Billy Richardson. Okay, we will go ahead and move into the business session. The first item is vote to set a public hearing for June 4th, 7 p.m. to discuss changes to Chapter 1173 of the Harrison zoning regulation. Do I have a motion?
Wilson, so moves. JW.
I'll second.
And discussion. Basically, these two items, one is to amend the fee structure, one pull out the fee structure so it's more easily amended, but to address some zoning fees. Basically, there's going to be an increase implemented primarily revolving around new construction. The second part of that is cannabis legislation, marijuana. I have a first and a second.
Yep.
No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yeah.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Thanks.
That threw me off too. Next item, vote on an ordinance notwithstanding the codified ordinances of the city of Harrison, Ohio, limiting adult use cannabis operations in the city to one and designating such operator.
Wilson, JW moves to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Can we have some discussion on it?
Yes.
We have that resolution in front of us?
You do.
I see, is this the cannabis operator agreement? I
The
see 4
ordinance,
of 24. and-
824.
What's that?
824.
And I have 9 of 24.
There's 8.
Thank you. I don't think I got 8 of 24.
I don't get it either.
And this is to make it a single operator?
This is to make it one single operator. Part of the discussion revolved around trying to limit the number of operations throughout the entire community and make it so they're not on every street corner. Also trying to find an operator that is professional and respectful to the community that they're serving and is a good corporate partner with the community as well. So a lot of work has been put into trying to narrow that down and keep it from spinning out of control so we don't end up like Colorado or Oregon or some of the overseas cities that have them on every street corner and all throughout their communities.
Fair enough, I understand the concerns.
Yes.
Picking one means the city is picking the winner and the loser, and government's typically pretty bad about picking winners and losers. That would be my only concern with us limiting it to one operator.
Yes.
What happens if we choose an operator and that's a bad operator? There's going to be no competition to push them out, would be my concern. Right?
There's options, and I think you were sent all the options.
I think the biggest thing is we don't want to wait on the lottery for someone to be first picked and then come out and say, we want to be in Harrison. And we have no negotiation rights with them then.
Right.
Because they're in. This way, we're getting someone that we think is extremely professional and it's going to be beneficial to the city of Harrison. And we're going to regulate where they're going to be and how many stores they can have.
The lottery is a bizarre thing as well, but that's how the state is choosing, I guess, just to randomly select folks. Okay.
Yeah, and I probably would have put the order of this legislation a little bit differently because we're also trying to narrow the areas where they'll be able to be located. We kind of use the foundation of some other laws that are on the books to keep them away from churches, child cares, nursing facilities, trying to keep distance from and be respectful to the community. Up to this point, we've fielded a lot of phone calls just because this is coming in hot from all directions. A lot of institutions want to take up key corners, be big and flashy, and it needs to be much more conservative if it's going to be part of our community. And finding a partner that would be able to come into the community, respect our values, respect our stance on stuff, but still be a good asset was what really the focus was.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Nay.
Next item on the agenda, vote on an ordinance notwithstanding the codified ordinances of the city of Harrison, Ohio, permitting an adult use dispensary at property located on designated locations.
So moved. I'll second.
This is part of what I just discussed. Basically, it's trying to narrow the locations that these type of businesses would be able to build on or build out if it is an existing structure, to keep it away from sensitive locations and be respectful in the community. So, any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Egner?
Yay.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Next item, vote on a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a cannabis operator agreement with Nectar Markets of Ohio, LLC, for operation of up to 2 adult use dispensaries.
Wilson, J.W. moves to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
So this would be one company, they could have 2 locations.
Yeah, this is the one location, or this is the one company, after thorough research, with the array of companies that have approached the city to locate here. This is the company that is most willing to partner with the city and listen to the city with all their concerns and provide the most professional approach to this chaos. Any other discussion? Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Agner?
Yay.
Mr. Abram?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Okay, that's the last item in the business, so we'll go ahead and move into reports. I have a couple items to discuss this evening. First item, and I'm sure Ms. Jean or Mr. Wilson will discuss this, but this coming weekend is Memorial Day. I encourage everyone to please take time to stop the chaos and the busy parts of our daily lives, to reflect on the sacrifices that so many before us have stepped up to the call and unfortunately did not return home to us. So the city of Harrison has one of the best, actually the best that I've ever attended, Memorial Day services. We have the parade on in the morning, and then we proceed to Glen Haven Cemetery for the Memorial Day service, and I encourage everyone to stop out. The next item that I have to touch on is it's getting very warm out, and it's the end of school. Watch out for kids. They're running all over the place. They dart between cars. They have little to no attention span for the car driving down the road, so I ask that all drivers please slow down and watch for cars or kids running around and on bicycles. The next item, city workers, they really stepped up this weekend with the food truck rally. Absolutely fabulous turnout. Probably 3,000-4,000 people ended up showing up. Our police and fire were there at the very beginning, along with our street crew setting everything up, and then they were there late at night. I was standing on the street after everyone left, talking to our police officers and helping clean stuff up, and I thank every one of them for all their contributions to that, but also for what they do on a daily basis. I have this little app on my phone for just about every run that our fire department goes on, and the amount of calls that tend to be, I want to say disturbing, just kind of heartbreaking, just seem to be on the rise lately. And they're the first ones there having to face it all. And I thank them all, both our police officers and our firefighters, having to face that every day. So I thank them, and I encourage everyone to take the time to thank them as they're out and about. Rita is mailing out the first round of letters to everybody for the municipal income tax. Most people, including myself, I got my letter yesterday saying that I need to mail them my partial payment for the 2024 estimated taxes. So I expect everyone else will be getting them as well. If you do have questions, I encourage you to reach out and ask. That way we can just help you and guide you through the process. I do want to congratulate the food truck on the great turnout. Congratulate the district on the great turnout. They did a great job putting everything together. And just one other item, I did have an opportunity to meet with the governor's office last week. Like I've told everybody, I'm banging on everybody's door to try to bring as much money as possible back into the Harrison community. So I took the time to sit down with the governor's office. While it wasn't the governor, unfortunately, I wanted the governor, but I didn't get him. I got Ethan, his representative, which he was a wonderful young man. understands our pains as he sat on council and was a mayor for a community for a period of time. But had a long discussion around economic development, finances, the expansion of our Dry Fork Road and the overpass and the Dry Fork Road corridor, as well as trying to address any number of roads throughout our community, and the fact that I need help with the finances coming back from the state level. So we'll continue to have those conversations with our congressmen, with our senators, and the governor's office to try to bring back as much as possible. So with that, Mr. Dieters, do you have anything to update?
Mr. Mayor, I have no report this night tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do have a report, probably the longest one I probably ever put out. The fire department is going to be doing a survey of all the transports they've had, and so they're going to find out how good of a job they've been doing, and we'd appreciate if you'd take advantage of that. There's engineering being updated for the firehouse facilities for both of them to make sure they're good for male and female police officers and fire employees. It's going to be the drawings for that is $19,000, which we're putting out. The chief and one of his captains talked to Cummings. They had a truck that needs $44,000 worth of work. They talked to Cummings and they extended the warranty for 1 year, and they dropped it off 3 days before the warranty was up. So that $44,000 is being covered. The bad news is there was a radiator in it that was bad, and we got to pay for that, and that's going to be $14,000. Another thing I want to thank Mike for being here from Nectar. He's in our audience tonight. We want to thank you for working with Matt and our lawyer, our mayor, and the committee on getting a deal hammered out for us, and we think it's going to be beneficial to both the city and to your company. And the last thing I want to bring up, at the last council meeting, we had Mr. Hickey come in, and he asked the mayor to apologize to him. And I'm kind of trying to figure out why the mayor would have to apologize. And the reason I say that is every meeting we've been in, every one, whether it's an executive session, whether it's this council chambers, whether it's committee meetings, I don't care which meeting it is, the mayor has always said that Mr. Hickey had the right, with freedom of speech and expression, to do what he did. We all don't agree with it, we understand that, but he had the right to do it. And I don't think the mayor needs to apologize for saying you had the right to do it. Mayor may not agree with it, but there's nothing for him to apologize for. And I think if he had tried to apologize to him, it would have made the city sound guilty, and we haven't done anything wrong. He did something none of us like, but he has the right to do it. And we'll defend that right till the end. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Egner.
Just a brief report, Mayor. The Civil Defense and Public Safety Committee met tonight. We're going through the City of Harrison's emergency operation plan. We got our second annex. We're working through that. We're gonna have we'll have this completed and wrapped up by the end of the year, and then the police chief and the fire chief are gonna start putting out some tabletop drills for the police and fire, eventually for us, I would assume as well. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Mr. Abrams?
Mr. Mayor, nothing in reference to a committee. We didn't have law committee, but also with what Mr. Wilson said, Matt and Joette have been working for the last 5 months, partnering with our community partner of Nectar Markets, and we do feel like they're going to be a great community partner. They are here tonight. Here again, Matt and Joette have been working tirelessly with them probably every day for the last 5 months. And they sprinkled me in there a little bit, but they have been carrying the load. So thank you, and thank you for Nectar for coming in town. Thank you.
Very good. One item I forgot to bring up in my, as if I didn't cover enough, but I do want to congratulate Fretboard on their opening. Fretboard opened in the old Heiston Company location downtown, in the 100 block of Harrison Avenue, and had a great soft opening event. Had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony, and then they were open all this past weekend. Hopefully you were all able to stop out and visit with them. But that's a great add to our district, and encourage you to stop down and visit with them. So, Mr. Maines.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. I may not have too many more opportunities in 2024 or 2025 to make comments, so I'm going to get my money's worth. I promise I won't go too long tonight. I have some well-organized things that I would like to talk about. The first is about the May 28th public hearing. I sent an email to Mr. Dieters and asking him to outline the format of the hearing and the special council meeting that will follow that. One of the questions that many of the folks in the audience here tonight and I've talked to about this subject want to know whether there will be a public time for folks to speak, to be able to voice their concerns. One question I have is, are we going to have an invocation? Should we have the invocation before the public hearing to kind of get things started off right? Or should we do that at the beginning of the special council meeting? I do have someone who has offered to do that. So that's kind of the question I pitched to council is there is an outline? Do we know what the format is going to be for next Tuesday?
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, we'll have something out early next week.
Okay, great.
Probably
and
Monday or morning.
Is it a public hearing or is it not a public hearing?
There is a public hearing first. It starts at 7 o'clock, and then that will be an opportunity to present your case.
Okay.
And then we will move into the meeting that will follow the traditional format, council meeting format. So I would say we would have an invocation prior to. And
Okay, so I
then
have
we'll go
an
into
invocation prior, Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation prior to the start of the special
Correct.
council meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
And then
Which will
we
be
will go
immediately
into,
following the public hearing.
Yeah, then we'll go into public comment, and then we'll go into decision.
Okay, so there will be an
Business.
opportunity for the public to speak during the special council meeting.
Yes.
Just like a normal.
Be held to
council
3 minutes, just like every other.
Excellent.
You probably didn't, I sent you an email late today. You probably haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
I have not. I was busy putting together some prepared remarks, so.
Yeah, we will follow our traditional format.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's part of, that's a great answer. Thank you very much. Yeah, I realize this is a pain to have to do. The second thing I would like to discuss is I sent an email out to the council in general and the mayor, asking what would be involved with adopting, and this kind of goes into Mr. Wilson's comments about Mr. Hickey's First Amendment rights. And this would be a well-worded resolution that would recognize Mr. Hickey's First Amendment right, which he has every right to fly a Confederate flag and display his signs. I guess his sign is legal because it says for sale. Also for us to express as a council our First Amendment right, the city's disagreement with that Confederate flag, what it stands for, the harm his flying the flag is doing to the city, particularly since it appears to be an official City of Harrison display, the detrimental economic impact the flag is creating for local businesses and those that want to come and be a part of the community, the businesses that want to become part of the community here in Harrison. It's my understanding that, for example, the third floor of the Cincinnati's office is sitting empty. And people go in and they look at that space and what a wonderful space, and they want to rent it. And then they look out the window and they see the Confederate flag and they walk out. And then lastly, in that resolution to talk about the harm that flag has for the minority residents of Harrison. So it was suggested to me that that's something that the city council, the council could do, is to put forth that resolution. And I guess my question is that something that would come through law committee? Is that the appropriate committee for something like that?
Yeah, it would start with a discussion in law committee made up of council members to recommend obviously lack of support in this case, just like we have.
It would probably mirror very much the
Yeah.
excellent statement that you made on January the 2nd, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
right? Just an extra, emphasis on that, and an emphasis on the harm that it's causing to our, we saw in the Inquirer article, the young lady, minority who lives 2 doors down, has to put up with that. Right?
Correct.
And I have a daughter that's a minority.
The law committee would hear first and then make the recommendation to go ahead and bring it forward. I can't imagine, just like we've supported stuff in the past, I would think that we can draw up legislation in order to address this.
So that's what I would propose. I will probably ask that we have a law committee meeting next month to discuss this. I may not be on council, but I'll certainly be able to attend the public meeting. It would have been tonight at 6:45, so it's the second.
Oh, that's right.
It's the
Because
third
he wasn't
Tuesday
able
of
to
the
make
month.
it here for his meeting. That's right.
Sure. So I would request, whether I'm a councilman, I'm not a member of the law committee, as a citizen, that we would have we had at least start that discussion in committee.
Mr. Abrams, you add that to your agenda for.
Yeah, I would propose drafting something and providing it to the committee to review.
Yeah, and this came from a municipal attorney, right? Someone who's
Good idea.
well versed in the law, this kind of a law, like Mr. Dieter's. And so I had asked around for some folks, and this was one thing that was suggested, that we do this.
Good
So
idea.
I'm not coming up with this on my own, much like many of the other great ideas I have. It's listening to people and asking questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, so I dropped my pen. I don't need my pen. I've written a couple of blogs here in the last couple of days, and the first one I would just like to gloss over. I think it's been out there a bit, and people have maybe read about it. And it has to do with food trucks, friends, and flags. My wife and I had a busy Saturday. We wanted to be at the food truck. We had 3 places to be on Saturday afternoon: a wedding, and a walk to Emmaus gathering out in Indiana, and the food truck rally. We were able to make 2 of those 3 and kind of split our time between the 2. It was great walking down the streets of Harrison, talking to people. We were able to engage with many people in a positive way. People asked, "What were you thinking?" And we were able to have that discussion. And for me to voice those comments publicly would just make my attorney cringe. So I'm not going to do that, but I will talk to people one-on-one about what happened and try to answer those questions as best I can without incriminating myself until the criminal hearing occurs. At the end of the day, gosh, we then went back to our church and set up chairs and that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, we came home, we laid our heads on the pillow and said, "Man, that was fun." And it just kind of, my wife and I love our city. We just love the people of this city. We love what this city stands for, and we just have enjoyed being a part of this city. And we will, no matter what happens on May 28th, we'll continue to stay involved. I'll still be involved in Recreation Committee, Commission events, still be involved with the tree board, what a great set of people that they are. Still involved with the track. We're going to keep the track going. We've got porta potty down there to serve the track members and Willow Park, and we've got volunteers that are helping pay for the rent on that toilet, and it's just exciting to be a part of that. So. And on that blog, again, titled Food Trucks, Friends, and Flags, there's ways that you can get involved, and I would encourage the city of Harrison to get more engaged in what is going on in this city. That's really the frustrating thing for me, is that there's so many things for us to get involved in. People have a fun time complaining on social media, but I say, "Hey, why don't you run for city council?" And they run away. First, one of my favorite people, they like to sit there and complain all day long and say, "Hey, why don't you run for council in 2025? And they immediately run away and never hear from them again, right? And get crazy stuff. So now, I've got I'm that libertarian T-shirt on, and my folks back there that are cannabis, they know us libertarians are often referred to as angry Republicans who like to smoke marijuana. Yeah, he's back there laughing. You get the joke, right? And you know that we have been against prohibition for 52 years since the inception of the party. We understand that when the government declares a war on poverty, they fail. When they declare a war on, wars are a horrible thing. And a war on drugs, what's winning the war on drugs? The drugs, right? We finally, the government is finally waking up to the fact that 60% of Americans have been pro-marijuana for 10 or 15 years now. So congratulations to you. You're going to be the only shop in town. I'm not sure I agree with that. From a libertarian standpoint, I don't know that the government should be picking winners and losers, but I wish you well, and I think you will do well in the city. And again, I don't smoke marijuana. That's not my thing. I don't drink a lot of beer. I was sober the night of the alleged events. So anyway, many folks know me, my libertarian story. I think the best way to talk about being a libertarian is just to tell you my story and what's happening and not hit you with what my wife said, do not get technical and do not talk about all this libertarian stuff you'd like to talk about and non-aggression principle and blah, blah, blah. So many know that I got involved with a free motocross track, right, that Mayor McGuire built in 2008. What's more libertarian than a grassroots effort of people who maintain a track that the city lets them maintain? And so in 2015, when Mayor McGuire was voted out as mayor, I reached out to the newly elected Mayor Nyer and Councilman Randy Schenk, a couple folks that I had previous contact with, to make sure that the park would remain open. And in the summer of 2016, development of Willow Park on the Whitewater began, and the idea started for a Facebook group to develop a grassroots effort to maintain the Doug. And that was kind of the beginning of my involvement there. Today, that Facebook group has over 5,900 members. The members donate to pay for a portable restroom. The track is in better shape than it has ever been in. In 2016, we had a council that was ready to close the park down. And by 2018, we had 7 pro-track council members and a pro-track mayor. And I've got a picture here. My favorite pictures of the Doug Dunaway are the youngsters on the motorcycles, right? You want to talk about how to wage the war on drugs with kids? Get kids on a motorcycle and they got more money, don't have any money to spend on drugs, they're spending it all on their motorcycle, right? And that's the way to do that. I got a lot of heads nodding on that one. And then very soon into my council tenure, on a very dark and rainy September 9th of 2018, Tracy Ann Davidson, known by those that loved her as John Wayne, died on the West Road overpass. I don't think anybody that has ever driven over, walked across, or ridden their bicycle over that bridge before we had the sidewalk that we have today would have been surprised that this happens. It's unfortunate that a fatality made everyone in this community gravely aware that pedestrian access over this bridge was long overdue. At the next Streets Committee, we were told that nothing could be done. Perhaps the city council could build a sidewalk up to the bridge, maybe add some lights and some signage, but the bridge itself was owned by the Ohio Department of Transportation. Now, I've been accused of being very one-dimensional, only track-focused, right? But what happened is my network that I developed by advocating for the motocross track, I was introduced to Caroline Duffy of 143 Engineers. And I reached out to her, called her, and she said, this is a perfect project for ODOT safety money. These kinds of projects are funded 100% by the state. And so we began the process with 143 Engineers. They did the camera traffic account, and they started the process. They gave Mr. Leslie all the instructions that he and JMA, our engineers, needed in order to make that happen. In my preference, I would have given the contract to 143 Engineers, but I know we've worked traditionally with JMA. So, and during that traffic count, we had cameras recording numerous pedestrians crossing the bridge on foot and bicycle, many of the pedestrians school-aged. At this point, JMA did take over, and today we have a 7-foot-wide pedestrian bridge with nice lights along the northwest side of the bridge. And that was completed this spring. And it's time to memorialize one of Harrison's own and name this walkway and bridge Tracy's Way. That's the next thing we need to do in this city. All of us are struggling with inflation. Our city is struggling to pay the bills, to pay our salaries. The taxpayers of Harrison are struggling to pay our bills. Consumer credit card debt has soared to record levels as citizens try to figure out how to maintain their standard of living, pay their bills, and put food on the table. I understand that the city is having trouble paying their bills, but raising taxes by removing the income tax credit without considering any cuts to the city budget is tone deaf. This is why I was the only city council member to vote against the repeal of the income tax credit. As I asked Billy Richardson when he came before council a few months ago earlier this year, how are you managing inflation? I'm tightening my belt. And I asked, have you asked your boss for a raise? I haven't asked my boss for a raise, but the city voted their own raise in. Just a few months ago, we faced a difficult vote for a new subdivision in our community. I voted against that subdivision on the grounds that the developer and the builder were not the best for Harrison. I would also argue that our zoning ordinances are obsolete and need to be completely rewritten. As M. Nolan Gray so aptly states in the title of his book, Arbitrary Lines, How Zoning Broke the American City and How to Fix It, zoning in Harrison and in America is broke, and we need to fix it. If you're not ready to pick up this book, consider listening to the podcast, and that's all linked on this blog that I have here. Lastly, I voted against every marijuana moratorium that this council brought in our meetings. What was the issue about marijuana maybe 5-6 years ago? I voted appropriately pro-marijuana on that. And as I mentioned earlier, the only thing that's won the war on drugs are the drugs themselves. As we saw tonight, recreational marijuana is finally coming to Harrison, and it's big money, so you've seen the Republican Council back down on their moratoriums very quickly. Of course, they have no choice. The people in the state of Ohio have decided to legalize that. And that's been the opinion of most Ohio voters for a long time. I voted for the designated outdoor refreshment area, as well as all my council members here. I voted for golf carts. I mean, what's more libertarian than a golf cart and a Dora? So thanks for allowing me to outline several of the projects that I have been involved in while having served on city council. Understand that these projects are all very libertarian in spirit, and best summarized by the libertarian saying, I don't care what you do, as long as you don't hurt other people and you don't take their stuff. Another libertarian principle that I strive to abide by parallels the most interesting question and answer ever given in the course of humankind, and that's found in the book of Matthew, chapter 22. And one of them, an expert in the law, tested him and with this question, Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Easy things to say, sometimes hard to live out, I know. I'm almost done. The libertarian philosophy, we find a similar ethical principle often referred to as a non-aggression principle, also known as the NAP. Don't take a nap on me, Joe Combs, right there. And it basically states that no man may initiate the use of physical force against others. Men have the right to use physical force only in the retaliation and only against those who initiate its use. And that's a quote from Ayn Rand. If you haven't read Ayn Rand, I would highly recommend you read some of her books. No man or group or men may aggress against the person or property of anyone else. And that's a quote by Murray Rothbard. If you're following Javier Milei down in Argentina, he has 5 cloned dogs, and one of them is named Rothbard. It's interesting that throughout my career on council, I have been consistently libertarian. And the moment I made one very non-libertarian move, this council has been quick to remove me, even before this misstep has been fully vetted through the municipal court of Hamilton County. Please understand that until the criminal charges against me have been fully vetted, I can't comment. But once that happens, I will make a complete and appropriate statement. As I've stated at the last council meeting, in conclusion, all I want to do is set individuals, my city, my state, and my country free in my lifetime. Thank you for your time. God bless America.
Mrs. Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report on Police Committee. The monthly monthly traffic crash report for April, 29, with 21 on public roadway accidents and 8 on private property accidents. Current staffing, 22 sworn officers available for full duty, 1 officer on sick leave, 1 officer on no duty, light duty status. Regulated vehicle ordinance, 46 inspections to date with 43 permits issued for on-the-road use. Lexipol conversion update, continuing to edit policy and procedures. Harrison High School graduation tonight at 7:30, expecting in excess of 3,000 attendees. Harrison Police Department on and off-duty officers will be out there for staffing control and traffic. Harrison Police Department will be conducting saturation patrols for speed enforcement in parks of Whitewater and Whitewater Trails subdivisions. Please slow down in all residential neighborhoods and obey the speed limits. The 2023 Dodge Durango PPV update, all 4 vehicles are operated and in service. For recreation, we had our recreation meeting last night. Some updates. Summer Fun will be June the 11th through July the 25th. They have 102 children registered. We're having our garage cleanup this Saturday at 10 a.m. We have our concert set. Our first concert will be on June the 4th. Also, a little update on the Harrison Memorial Day program. It'll be on Monday, May the 27th. The lineup for the parade is, it'll line up in front of Harrison Elementary School on Broadway at 9:30. It moves out at 10 a.m. They proceed up to the Glen Haven Cemetery. They will be having a guest speaker from the VFW, the 3 Miss Poppies, the AMVETS Miss Poppy, the Legion Miss Poppy, and the VFW Miss Poppy will strew poppies on veterans' graves. I will be the guest speaker for the program for the Vietnam veterans that they put on at Eden Park on Monday at 12 noon. I'd like to congratulate all the Harrison seniors that graduated tonight. As a public servant, at times you have to make decisions that your family doesn't appreciate. My grandson doesn't appreciate that his grandfather and I are city council, but that is a decision that we had to make because we serve on city council. There was a meeting tonight, so we had to miss his graduation. So I'm sure that will cost us some money down the road.
It won't cost us any more money. We already gave him a car for graduating.
Wow. It will. And Mike, you're not the only member up here who's made hard decisions. I know you think you are, but you're not.
Absolutely not.
No, you do. You do. But we all make hard decisions. None of us, I don't believe, were on city council when the, besides maybe yourself, when the other marijuana ordinance came through. So you have a new city council who's making hard decisions. There's no one up here that received a raise. To keep good people, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, you have to give them raises. If not, you have to give your police department raises, your fire department people raises. They are not the best paid fire department. They're not the best paid police department in the area. Our street workers, our maintenance, all most where we fall, if you check out the wages, we're barely in the middle. Every year, we lose firemen to different cities because they can go and make more money. We lose police officers to other cities because they can go and make more money. We have to give people raises or they will not stay with us. It's not something we want to do. There's no way we want to raise taxes on anyone, but it's tough decisions. We can't just sit up here and act like we're in the rainbow world where we don't have to make tough decisions. We have to make tough decisions. We have to make decisions that some people don't understand, that they don't appreciate, and that they don't agree with. But we have to make them because we have to have, and we do, I believe, we have one of the finest police departments and fire departments in Ohio. I'll put them up against anyone. I admire our police chief and our fire chief because they go above and beyond every day. So it's not easy to sit up here and vote to raise taxes. It's not easy to sit up here and take away income tax credits. It's not. I don't want to pay any more money. I'm no different than anybody else. I don't have to be a libertarian. I don't have to be a Democrat. I don't have to be a Republican. I don't have to be an independent. I'm a city council member. You and I have had this discussion before. When we sit up here, we're not any of those things. We're Harrison City Council members, and we try to make the best decisions for everyone that lives in our city, that lives in our township, who borders our state. We don't have the luxury of just saying, oh, well, I'm against taxes, so I'm going to vote no. We have to be realist, and we have to do tough decisions every time we're up here. That's all I got, Mayor.
Remember, I had one other thing. When I was at Valley House, the owner of that is a veteran. And Jean was on the phone with me, and she said, ask him if he's going to offer veterans discounts like some places do. And he looked at me and he said, yes, I'm going to. And I said, well, what kind of figure do you think you'll do? He said, 20%. And I shook my head. I said, are you kidding? I said, normally it's 5 or 10. He said, no, if they're a veteran, they come in my establishment, we're going to give them a 20% discount. Remember that if you're a veteran. Thank you, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Roll call. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Mr. Abrams?
Yay.
Mr. Maines?
Yay.
Where am I? Mrs. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Regner?
Yay.
We stand adjourned. Have a good evening.